Hello, guys, and welcome back. Sorry it's been a few days, but today I'm going to do a day in the life and just small maintenance around the house. I did go and wash some laundry. My basket right there tipped over, but it was standing at one point. I broke down my bed, so I did wash my linen. I will also be making my bed. I'll probably do that off video, but I will show you the end result. And this is my underneath the bed storage. So I have some motion lights under there so that it allows me to see in every corner. So I'm just showing you my lights, but I do roll all of my clothes so that they will fit. Here are some dishes that I washed before I left the house earlier, and I will be cooking a meal today on camera. So I am going to put these things away so that I can get started on my meal. The water that's running, I hope it doesn't trigger anyone. I leave it running when I leave the house because the temperatures were still pretty low that day, and I didn't want to take the chance of the water freezing in the pipes. So I leave it running when I leave the house. Here I'm taking out my crock pot. I'm going to be doing zuppa toscana soup, but I usually do it more traditional. Today I will be making a couple of little changes to it. I love kale, but I could not find any in the grocery store, so I will be substituting spinach. And then I'm going to be adding carrots to the recipe. And it does not call for carrots, but because of the weather, I did want to add just a little more hardiness to it, but still keep it on the light side of a soup instead of making it more like a stew. So I'm adding the chicken broth so that it can start heating and to get it ready for the vegetables. And I'm going to add a little water because the stock won't be enough for everything that I'm going to be adding to the pot. I did probably half of the container. I didn't fill it back up. It was just about half. And to this, I'm going to be adding some chicken bouillon because I know that the water diluted the chicken stock. So I just added some of that for flavoring with the water. So I'm going to allow for that to start heating up, and now I'm going to start prepping the vegetables so that they can go in and start cooking. I'm going to do all of my vegetables, cut them very thin so that it will cut down on the cooking time. And also, I really think that thinner vegetables are for a lighter soup and thicker vegetables are for a hearty soup. And I'm trying to keep it on the light side, so I wanted everything to be nice and thin. Also, for this voiceover, it's storming outside. So if you happen to hear rain falling, or should you hear thunder, it is actually happening, but I did not want to wait another day before I put this video out. So I'm making sure that I use protection. I work the potatoes down to a certain point, and because the blade is very, very sharp, I do still make sure that I use the guard that they give us. I leave the skins on my potatoes and just wash them down really well. And also for this segment, I sped it up just a little because I didn't want to bore anyone with me cutting vegetables. So it's a lot slower and a lot more controlled with a blade in real time, but I did speed it up for this video. Just so if anyone is wanting to do this recipe at home, you know that I was not moving that fast. I was taking my time. So here on video, I cut up 3 potatoes. But I did actually off camera add another potato because it did not seem like it was going to be enough. And I am also going to cut up the carrots here, but off of the camera, I added probably 6 more than what you'll see me cut up here. And I just wanted to make sure that my vegetable to meat ratio was going to be nice. The rain is getting harder, but I am still determined to put this video out because this is actually maybe 2 days old and I didn't want to wait another day. I'm trying to hold myself accountable for doing better with posting videos. There are some things that I have done and I actually missed capturing, but this is new for me, but I promise to do better. So I'm cutting the carrots flat instead of the long way because I felt like they would look better in my soup that way. And then I also just felt like I could get them thinner if I cut it like this and was able to use the guard. And the first carrot that I cut was more like a tester, so it was thicker than I wanted it to be. It was still set on the same setting as the potatoes, so I did go to the first setting. So these are paper thin, so they are a little thinner than the potatoes. I did not want them to still have any crunch to them. I wanted them to be thin enough to where they can soak up the flavors that I'm going to put in. And then I also just wanted them to kind of melt in my mouth and not be crunchy. So again, what you see me cut up here, I did go back and add about 6 more. And even looking now, I could tell that that's not enough, but when I was doing it, it felt like I had cut up a lot more than what I did. So I'm going to add the carrots, and then I'm going to mix everything together. And I just make sure that I keep adding the lid back so that it doesn't lose too much of the heat. Because again, this is a meal that I'm preparing for the same day, even though it's in my crock pot. I have it set on high, and then I made sure to cut everything thin so that the cook time will be less. I will allow for this to cook some before I prepare the meat, but when I add the meat, it will also increase the temperature, which will also help with cooking it faster. So this is with the extra potato that you can see on top and the carrots that I added. And I'm just mixing everything together. At this point, it's probably all been in there 30 minutes, I'll say. And I decided to add some more carrots and potatoes. But because they're so thin, I don't have to worry about them not cooking for the same amount of time. So that's just my potatoes, carrots, the chicken stock, and the chicken broth. So now I'm going to go in and season it. The salt, it may look like I'm adding a lot of salt, but I promise I didn't. The container was empty, and when I thought I was shaking some out, I realized nothing was coming out. So I just went ahead and emptied it in there, and I'm throwing that away. I won't be adding any more sodium. That's garlic powder, and I typically try to buy garlic powder and onion powder and not the salts, so that I won't ever get into over salting anything. This is onion powder instead of onion salt. And I love to season my food, so I am being generous with it, but not as much as coming out as what it may look like. Adding pepper. I cook so often, and when the steam rises up into my seasonings, it makes it clump together, so I have to shake a lot harder sometimes to get it out. And that's what you see me doing, is shaking to unclump it so that I can actually get enough out of it to season the food. So here I'm going to add some garlic, and I'm going to add some margarine. So that's roasted garlic. I typically just get the regular minced garlic, but I wanted to try a new flavor, and I actually did enjoy it. I could tell the difference. So it's about half a teaspoon of roasted garlic, and that's all of that I'm going to add. I tried to put the top back on, but Butterfingers, it fell on the floor, so I'm going to have to, off camera, wash my lid and replace it. And then here I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons, of butter or margarine. And that's all the seasoning that I'm going to add to the pot. When I do my meat, I will add all of the same seasonings that I just did, but I also added cayenne and slap your mama to the meat mixture. I did not record it. I started running out of storage. So a lot of things I did off camera, and I want to explain it while I'm in the process of doing it now. So while that starts to cook down, I'm going to get started on my laundry. This is where I first started running into issues with my storage. So you'll see 2 takes, and on the second take I thought I was still recording, but unfortunately I look up and I have a message that my storage is full. So that's something that I'm going to have to work on, is either a new device or taking a lot of stuff out of this one so that I can use it correctly. So I'm going to get started on my clothes. I did get them all folded before I finished the rest of my meal, just so that I could see some progress, because I really don't like a lot of chaos around me. I like everything to be in its place. So I couldn't wait to get those folded so that I could get that corner cleaned up. So I'll probably make it into 3 or 4 items here, and then that's where the storage is full and it will cut off. But I promise I folded everything and got it put up. And I'm trying to watch little YouTube, support everyone that in the community. I really enjoy his videos. So it's about to cut out now, but I promise I did fold everything and get it put in its proper place. So now I'm going to do my meat. For the meat, I always use the Italian sausage, which is what the recipe calls for. And I also get real bacon bits, and I add the bacon bits to the skillet as well, so that I can render some of the fat off of it. And then I just feel like blending them together makes it better, as opposed to just mixing them separately. So this is the mixture of the Italian sausage and bacon bits, and the meat is seasoned. And then I also add water into my skillet and let it simmer for a little while, just so that all of the flavors blend together and that my meat gets really tender. And I also added a little bit of liquid smoke to the meat. So this is me mixing everything together, and I know you can see that the spinach has made a guest appearance. I didn't add all the spinach, but just some of it. And this is my ghetto dryer. My mattress topper was not fully dry, so I set all of my heaters on top of it and shut the door, and voila, it was dry in like 10 minutes. Okay, this is the finished product. So I've added all of the spinach that I wanted to add, and all I'm going to do now is add maybe half a cup of the heavy whipping cream. I don't add too much. I just really do enough to make the broth turn a different color. And that's it. I forgot about this pepper. I really don't think it added anything, but I did let it sit in the top, and while it finished boiling, let it add some flavoring to it. It wasn't a spicy pepper, so it didn't make it hot. This is my bed all made up. Mission complete. My room is back in order, and this is my finished meal. Thank you guys for joining me, and I hope that you subscribe and come back and visit me sometimes.